Hey guys, today I have a very different kind of video for you all. So apart from the usual fingerstyle guitar arrangements that I teach on my channel and will always continue to teach, I'm planning a separate series of videos called Beautiful Guitar Parts. So what I'll do with this series is I'll take guitar parts from songs that I really love, a lot of which are from lesser known songs that I used to play when I started out playing guitar, and I'll share them with you guys and teach you how to play them. I think this would be a very nice way to broaden your listening vocabulary, and it would also be something that's really fun for me to do as well. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So for today's video we have Lullaby for an Anxious Child. It's by Sting, and the guitar player here is Dominic Miller. He wrote the parts for this song. If you know Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD, which was my last video, the main riff of that song was actually taken from Shape of My Heart by Sting, and the guitar player who originally wrote this part was Dominic Miller. So he's a really fantastic, really amazing fingerstyle guitar player. If you're into fingerstyle guitar, I think you should definitely check him out. So let's start learning this guitar part. I've divided it into different sections. Let's start with part A. It sounds like this. So we start by playing an E minor chord, but with natural harmonics. So if you don't know that technique, I'll explain it really briefly. You just have to place your finger right on the strings. You just have to rest it on the strings right above the fret wire on the 12th fret. So it's not in the middle of the fret. It's right above the fret wire, and you're resting your finger, and you're not fretting the note. You're not pressing down the note like that, like you play a normal note on the guitar. You just have to rest your finger right on the string above the fret wire. So just try it with one string first. Try it with the high E string. Place your finger right on the 12th fret above the fret wire and just gently rest it on the string. Don't press down. Try to play that note. You should get the sound even after you lift your finger up. So that note should sustain. That's the way of checking it. And you can also do it with the B string, the G string, and every other string as well. And if you still can't do that, then just look up natural harmonics on YouTube. You'll get plenty of tutorials on this technique. So we start by playing the first chord, all of the notes for which are actually harmonics. So you do that by barring with your middle finger right above the 12th fret. And you're playing the low E string, the G string, the B string, and the high E string. Like that. And you can also use your ring finger to play the notes. Like that. Whichever is easier for you, both of them are fine. So we start by playing the chord with the harmonics. Then we have this. So there we play a regular note on the 10th fret of the high E string. So you play that with your index finger. And then you play the harmonics on the B string and the G string, again with a bar with your ring finger like this. Like that. One more time, really slow. And then we have this part. So right after we played this portion, you have to play the note on the 13th fret of the B string with your little finger like that. And then you have this. So there you're playing the 9th fret with your index finger, the 9th fret of the A string. Then you play the open G string and then the B string, 13th fret. So if I played from the last part, you have this so far. And then you have this part. So the last chord you were holding was this. And then you have this chord. So you're moving your little finger from the 13th fret to the 12th fret of the B string, and your index finger moves from the 9th fret to the 10th fret of the A string. So you have this. So you're playing this new part. So you start by playing the B string, then you play the A string, then you play the open G string, and then the B string again. Like that. So all together from the start we have this. And then we have this part. So it's a similar kind of idea. We change from this chord to this chord here. So now you're playing the notes on the 10th fret of the B string, and the 6th fret of the A string. You also have the open G string there in between. So you play this. So you start by playing the B string, then you have the A string, then you have the open G string, and then you have the B string again. Like that. And then you change the chord to this. So you're changing from this chord to this chord now. So now you have the 8th fret of the B string and the 7th fret of the A string. You hold the 8th fret with your ring finger and the 7th fret with the index finger. So you play the B string first, then the A string, then the open G string, and then the B string again. Same pattern. Like that. So I'll play it from the start till this point. So we have this so far. And then you have this part. So you go from this chord to this chord, and then you change to this. So there you're playing the note on the 7th fret of the B string. Then you play the note on the 8th fret of the low E string. Then you play the open G string. And then you lift this note up to play the open B string and the open high E string. One more time, really slow. And then you change to this chord. So there you're holding the 2nd fret of the A string and the 4th fret of the B string. You play the A string, then the B string, and then the open high E string. Like that. So all together you have this. And if I play it from the start till this point, we have this so far. And then we have the second part, we'll call this part B. So it sounds like this. So this part is actually based on the same idea, just playing it 1 octave lower this time. So you start by playing this. So there you have the open low E string, then the open G string, then B string, and the open high E string. And then you have this. So there you're playing the 3rd fret of the B string, then the open B string, and then the open G string. Like that. One more time, really slow. And then you have this part. So this part is based around this chord. So you have the 1st fret of the B string. Then you have the 2nd fret of the low E string, the 2nd fret of the D string, and the 2nd fret of the G string. So you play the B string first, then the low E string, then the D string, then the G string. And then you let go of this note, so now you have the open B string. And you play that. One more time, really slow. So from the start we have this. One more time. And after that you have this. So right after we played the last part, change to this, where you change the position of this finger from the 2nd fret of the low E string to the 3rd fret. So now you have this, the 3rd fret of the low E string, then you play the open D string, and then the open B string. And then you play this, the note on the 2nd fret of the G string. But the trick here is you have to use the same finger to play that note. So you move this finger to this, the note on the 2nd fret there. Like that. So all together you have this. One more time. And then you have this part. So right after you reach this note on the 2nd fret of the G string, from the last part, now you have this. So there you bring in your index finger onto the 1st fret of the D string, and you play that note. Then you play the open B string. Then you play the note on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then you let go of this note and you play the open G string, like that. One more time, really slow. So if you play it from the last chord, you have this. One more time, really slow. And then you have this part. So there you move the position of this finger from the 1st fret of the D string to the 2nd fret of the D string. So now you have this. So you play the note on the 2nd fret of the D string, then you play the open B string, then the open G string, and then the 4th fret of the D string with your ring finger. So you get this. And if you play it from the previous chord, and then you have this part. So there you have the 3rd fret of the A string and the 2nd fret of the D string. You play this, where you're playing the A string, then the D string, then the A string, and then you have this part. So there you're changing from this chord to this chord. So there you have the 2nd fret of the A string and the 2nd fret of the D string. Plug them both together. And then you change to this note, so you have the 1st fret of the D string, which you're playing with the index finger. And then you're bringing this note back in to play the note on the 2nd fret of the D string, like that. One more time. So I'll play it from this chord once really slow. One more time. So that's the B part. I'll play the whole thing once. It sounds like this. And then you have the C part, which sounds like this. So there you change to this chord. So there you're playing the 4th fret of the A string, the 2nd fret of the D string, and the 4th fret of the G string. All the rest of the strings are open. So you start by playing this. So you start with the A string, then the G string, then the D string, and then you have this. So there you're playing the B string, the G string, and then the D string, like that. So all together. One more time. And then you change to this chord. So there you lift this finger up, so now you have the open A string. And the rest of the chord stays, so you have the 2nd fret here and the 4th fret on the G string. So you play from the open A string all the way up till the high E string. Just ring the chord once, like that. And then you have this. So you played this part before. You have the 2nd fret of the A string and the 2nd fret of the D string. Plug them both together. Now you play the 1st fret of the D string, and then you play the 2nd fret of the D string, like that. So that's the whole C part. I'll play the whole thing really slow once. It sounds like this. And after the C part, the B part repeats. Exactly the same as before. And then you have the A part again. And after that you have the C part again, but this time with a variation. So there in the end, instead of playing this, you play this. So there you have this chord, so you're holding the 2nd fret of the A string and the 4th fret of the B string. So you have the open high E string, then the A string, then the B string, and then the high E string again. So all together, like that. So if you play the whole thing, it sounds like this. So that's the C part with the variation. After that you have one more part which I added, which is actually an E minor arpeggio. So it sounds like this. So you start by playing the open low E string, then the 3rd fret, then the 2nd fret of the A string, then the 2nd fret of the D string, then the open G string, the open B string, and the open high E string. So all together you have this. And then you have this part. So there you're playing the harmonics on the 12th fret, just like you did before. So you're playing the G string harmonic, then the B string, then the high E string. After that you play the 15th fret of the high E string, then the 19th fret, and then you play the harmonics on the 5th fret. The 5th fret of the G, B and high E string, like that. So I'll play the whole thing once really slow. So I really hope you enjoyed this beautiful guitar part. I know it's very different from the usual kind of videos that I do. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helped. If you'd like to support my channel, then check out my Patreon page. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, then subscribe to my channel. Also, if you have any questions or requests, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.